Hello and welcome. I'm Joanne Witt. I'm on the pastoral staff at Calvary Presbyterian Church in San Francisco, currently covering for Joanne Lee, who is the Associate Pastor for Community Formation. Joanne Lee is on parental leave and sabbatical right now. Calvary Presbyterian Church has a commitment to adult education and spiritual formation, often sponsoring live gatherings on Sundays following worship, as well as at other times. During this COVID-19 pandemic, we can't gather as we normally would, but we still want to provide opportunities for learning as well as helping people stay connected to our ministries. So we're recording this conversation today, and we'll use the technology that's available to us to reach out to you, the members and friends of Calvary. As we get started, I invite you to join me in prayer. So please pray with me. God of grace, we thank you for the technology that allows us to gather and to continue learning even as we shelter in place. We thank you for the commitment of those who help make this happen today. As we gather, open our hearts to hear and see something new, something fresh about how you are at work in the world, especially here in the Bay Area. Inspire us to greater understanding, greater compassion, and greater faithfulness. Amen. So today we're delighted to introduce to you Mark Cole. Mark is the Chief Operating Officer of New Door Ventures, one of Calvary's partners in our Breaking Cycles of Poverty initiative. Working with Bay Area young people who are disconnected from education and employment, New Door Ventures provides paid jobs, skills training, education, and individualized support so that young adults can get ready for work and life. In addition to managing general operations, Mark oversees two of New Door Ventures enterprises, Ashbury Images and Pedal Revolution, and he leads planning and development of key strategic initiatives. Mark served with New Door Ventures from 2001 to 2008 and then returned in 2011, so he has considerable history with the organization. In addition to his master's in business and healthcare administration, he holds a master's degree in marriage and family therapy from Fuller Seminary. We're going to hear from Mark, and then Calvary member Sally Durgan will moderate a question and answer session. Sally is Calvary's co-liaison of volunteers for New Door Ventures. So welcome, Mark.
Thank you again, Joanne. I'm excited to be with you, at least virtually. I wish I could be there together with you in the same room, but that will have to wait for another time. Like all of you, I'm getting used to new ways to use our technology and our world of physical distance. Thanks for your patience and for learning along with me. New Door has been operating as a virtual organization since the shelter-in-place order began. We're still working with young people, providing support and learning along with them how to navigate this time. While the immediate crisis creates many challenges, we're thinking a lot about the long-term effects of the pandemic. We know that vulnerable groups are already hit hard, and we don't know what the long-term impact of all of this will be. But we do know that it will be significant. We expect there will be more need for our services than ever, and we'll be working with partners like Calvary to meet those needs. Let me take a step back and tell you a little bit about New Door in case you don't know us. At New Door Ventures, we're inspired by the belief that all young people should have the opportunity to make the transition to a fulfilling, economically sustainable adulthood, to have an opportunity at social and economic mobility. In the Bay Area, around 80,000 people ages 16 to 24 are disconnected from employment and education, and thousands more are loosely connected. Young people who don't achieve and maintain connection to school and work in this critical transitional phase of life are at risk of adulthoods characterized by poverty, unemployment, homelessness, and incarceration. New Door's mission is to connect these young people to work and school or strengthen their existing connection. We provide training, jobs, education, and support to help young people get ready for work and life. We believe, and evidence shows, that employment and education can change the trajectory of opportunity for young people. They're essential elements in the achievement of social and economic mobility. In addition to talking about New Door today, you've asked me to talk about income inequality, which has a direct connection to the lives of New Door youth, and frankly, all of us who are gathered. What I'd like to do today is share with you the stories of several New Door young people. Their experiences illustrate many of the challenges that youth have in a world of inequality. I'll mix in some information from a number of academic and news sources that provide some context and food for thought. Mostly though, I hope you'll be challenged by the challenges that these young folks are experiencing and inspired by their resourcefulness. So let's start with some information about the challenges income inequality presents to the economic and social mobility of folks in the United States. Since 1980, incomes for families in the 90th percentile have increased by 60%. Incomes for families in the 10th percentile have grown by 20%. For families where any member holds a four-year degree or higher, median income increased 30% since 1980. It decreased slightly for all other families. Families with four-year degree holders earn $2.20 for every $1 that families earn who don't have a four-year degree holder. This environment creates particular challenges for young people who experience disconnection. The future of economic and social mobility is difficult to attain. Compared to demographically and economically similar peers who were disconnected in their teens and early 20s, those who remain connected earn approximately $31,000 more annually, were 45% more likely to own the home in which they lived, were 42% more likely to be employed, and 52% more likely to report excellent or good health by the time they reach their 30s. Thanks to economic growth, improved high school graduation rates, and new governmental, civil society, and private sector efforts, the share of young people who are neither working nor in school has declined from its peak in 2010. But those who remain disconnected face more complicated barriers to school and work than can be solved by an improving economy alone. Barriers like poverty, contact with the criminal justice system, unresolved trauma, and educations that did not prepare them for today's labor market. This table illustrates the situation for youth in the Bay Area. The information in the table reflects the rates of youth disconnection among several race and ethnic groups in 2010 during the recession and in the stronger economy of 2015. You'll note the disparities among the groups, with Black and Native American young people experiencing the highest and most persistent levels of disconnection. While you can see that rates of disconnection have improved for some groups, overall the numbers remain pretty constant, even with improvements in the economy. And we know, and now we are faced with the unfolding economic crisis of COVID-19. We have grave concerns about the impact our current situation will have on vulnerable groups like disconnected youth. I want to turn now to the experiences of some New Door young people. Their stories are compelling and help to illustrate some of the challenges presented by income inequality in the Bay Area. These stories are all from our upcoming annual report, and I'm reading them as they were presented and created by the young people themselves. First, let's hear from Janice, a young woman who graduated from our program at Dewey Academy in Oakland. Janice says, before New Door, I was living in Antioch, and there weren't many opportunities. I moved to Oakland because my dad got incarcerated, and I had to go live with my mom. I heard about New Door through my school, Dewey Academy. I had said that when I came to Oakland that I wanted to get a job. And after looking into New Door, I knew that this program could help me do it. I felt ready. I wanted to change, and that job experience that everyone else was having. I knew a job would give me independence. I really liked the skill building workshops. Everything New Door taught us, from taxes, time management, to interviewing skills, were important parts of making a foundation for my adult life. Another great part of New Door was my case manager. She was awesome. She helped me stay on top of things and helped me write my resume, which I had never done before. It feels good that I can still ask her for help even after finishing the program. I've always been a leader, but I tapped into it more with New Door because there was an opportunity and the staff made me feel comfortable expressing myself. That's why I joined New Door's Alumni Leadership Council. I'm excited to bring new ideas and more people to New Door. New Door will help you with your future. You get a job, not only a job, but you get trainings. You get to learn, and there's a lot to learn. Certain programs that help you with jobs just put you in a random job with no say. But New Door lets you choose where you want to go. New Door prepares you for other strategies to get a next job and sets you up for long-term success. A few things to highlight about Janice's story. She's impacted by challenging family situations. There's some instability in her life. She's moving between communities for family or economic reasons. She has some knowledge and skill gaps around work. She's had some academic challenges. She's resilient though. She's a leader. She's motivated to work. She wants to learn and take advantage of the opportunities that are presenting themselves. One particular note about Janice's story: she's moved between Antioch in eastern Contra Costa County and Oakland. We find that a pretty common theme. Families are moving out from the center of the Bay Area, likely in search of affordable housing, but they retain connections to Oakland or San Francisco. We have a notable number of long-distance commuters among our youth, coming from places like Antioch, Pittsburgh, even Fairfield. These maps tell that story in a different way, showing the concentration of disconnected young people in various areas in the Bay Area back in 2012 and 2013. You can see that the colors tend to be darker away from the more populated urban areas, indicating higher concentrations of disconnected youth, and that the colors in the outlying areas are darker on the right map than on the left, meaning that the concentration of disconnected youth grows even in 1 year from 2012 to 2013. We added services a couple years ago as a first step to meeting the challenge, but reaching young people further out in those communities is a nut we haven't cracked yet, but the need is there. Unfortunately, if you laid a map of supportive services available to young people over this map, you'd see that services tend to be highly concentrated in San Francisco and Oakland, with far fewer resources as you move out from the urban centers. Next, let's hear from Diamond. Diamond says, I came to New Door after having my baby. I didn't have a high school diploma or a job, and no programs had really worked for me before. My aunt texted me a flyer about New Door's employment program, and I came to the information session knowing I wanted work experience. I knew I wanted to work in the medical field, and I received my top internship choice at a pet hospital. I was able to see surgeries, tie a surgical knot, and learn all these amazing skills that I wouldn't have gotten to do without this program and without work experience. I was able to learn about different types and sizes of needles, sometimes assisting with bottling medicine. I knew that New Door had an education program, so I wanted to complete that and get my high school equivalency. My other goal was to get a next job with office skills that would help kickstart my career. And New Door made both goals happen. Through the education program, I passed all 5 GED tests, and the next month after my employment program graduation, I started a year-long front desk position at New Door. Having people recognize my work and saying they liked having me there and that I did a good job gave me a new sense of pride. I feel like I grew a lot in my personality. I definitely needed my GED so that I could get my phlebotomy technician certification. I passed my certification test, and now I'm in my phlebotomy externship at Kaiser. It's hard to believe sometimes that this is my job. It's exciting because I like the work, but this is also a chance to see what other jobs there are in the medical field that I might want. But New Door was the start. It gave me the foundation to start my life, and I'm so happy. People are serious about wanting to change their life in a better way. If they feel like their life is stagnant, they need to go to New Door. I'm so proud of Diamond. She's on her way. For young people who are interested like Diamond, the healthcare industry presents some great career pathways for young people who, for whatever reason, don't have a high school diploma. Like Diamond, they can go step by step into jobs that provide them with more opportunity, fulfillment, and earning potential. For young parents like Diamond, things are more challenging. Diamond has a delightful daughter who needs to be cared for while she's in school or at work, who needs her mom's attention and time, who needs food. Kids are wonderful and expensive and time-consuming. Let's talk for a minute about what it costs to live in the Bay Area. You've heard it, but let's break it down. This slide shows the monthly cost of living for a single adult in the San Francisco metro area from the Economic Policy Institute. I did some math, and the $5,756 that they say it takes equals just over $69,000 per year, or about $33.20 per hour. You can argue about whether this is a good approximation of what it actually costs for a single person to live in San Francisco. Some would say you can do it on less. Some people couldn't make it on that much per week. But 2 points. First, $33.30 is more than twice the San Francisco minimum wage of $15.59 an hour. And second, there's not a lot of margin here for unemployment or another crisis that requires a savings cushion. At New Door, young people start at minimum wage. It's a start. We believe that the support they receive from us starts them on a path toward economic sustainability and mobility. The final story I'll share is Patrick's. He's a little further along in his journey. Patrick says, before coming to New Door in December 2013, I was a gang member who had limited interpersonal and soft skills. I didn't know how to create a resume, how to properly present myself in an interview, or even what a cover letter was. With my record of being in jail and having interactions with law enforcement, employers didn't want to hire me. I was in between temporary freelancing jobs with agencies and taking on any work I could get my hands on. However, the work was always limited and short-lived, and that made it difficult to have an employment history that showed consistency. I began to lose hope. Then a case manager I would visit in the mission recommended I try New Door's program. During my internship at New Door, I learned a lot from my site supervisor and received praise not only by my supervisor, but also from the CEO and founder of the company. It was an amazing feeling that I had never experienced before, one of belonging and success in my potential. My New Door case manager not only worked with me on the fundamentals of how to present myself in the workplace and develop my soft skills, but also challenged my way of thinking. He helped me not to dwell on the misdeeds of my past, but to look ahead. Not only did I graduate from the employment program, I also earned my GED through New Door. The entire team supported and rooted for me, and the feelings of belonging and sincere level of compassion were beyond anything I could ever imagine. Through my time at New Door, my way of thinking completely shifted, and I started approaching things differently. My mother noticed, and she told me, in what I remember being the first time, I'm proud to call you my son. New Door gave me the tools and motivation to be successful in my professional endeavors. I now work as the e-commerce operations assistant manager at San Francisco's Goodwill's e-commerce division. And I have the privilege of paying it forward to those like me in need of second chances. My story is coming full circle as San Francisco Goodwill recently became an ally partner to give training and employment to New Door interns. I'm very thankful for the experience I had with New Door. I don't know where I would be today if I had never interviewed with New Door and accepted their offer. It was such a great day when we made the full circle connection with Patrick at Goodwill. It's always good to reconnect with young people who have been in our program years after they graduated. A couple things to note from Patrick's story. This takes time. Patrick started with New Door nearly 7 years ago. Also, there are lots of elements to his success: education, soft skills training, connecting with multiple people at New Door, multiple people at his New Door job site, including the company CEO. It takes a village for all of us to make the journey from childhood to adulthood. At New Door, we're intentionally relational, making personal connections between not only our staff and young people, but with community, businesses, and volunteers. Which brings me back to you all at Calvary. You all are such important partners. Since 2016, 33 members of Calvary have supported at least 37 volunteer workshops. It's about 1,700 total volunteer hours. You've worked at 16 employment program cohorts and worked with roughly 180 young people. I learned in my research that Jane Bryson, a truly dedicated champion of New Door, has participated in 31 volunteer workshops in San Francisco and also at 3 different sites in Oakland. A special shout out to you, Jane. In addition, your community has supported our celebration of gratitude by donating meals and desserts and preparing food. You've helped with holiday gift cards for our young people in the past several years. And finally, as a community, you've provided regular financial support that amounts to nearly $180,000 over the past 5 years. $180,000, that's amazing, thank you. You're truly partners and truly making a difference to us as an organization and to individual young people like Janice, Diamond, and Patrick. Thank you for your real and practical support. Before I conclude and answer some questions, I want to acknowledge Janice, Diamond, and Patrick. They've been really generous in sharing their stories. They're featured, as I mentioned, in our annual report, which will officially drop in the next couple of weeks, so you get to see them again in that document. In addition, my colleague, Heather Rudo, who some of you know from volunteering, helped me with putting this presentation together. Thanks to David for his help with technology, and to Kathy, Robin, Joanne, Sally, and all the rest of you for your support. Thanks to you all, and thanks for your attention. Let's have some questions.
Thank you, Mark. We really appreciate your presentation and also all the work that New Door is doing in our community. I have some questions that were submitted by our Calvary volunteers and staff. So I will get started. The first question is, how might volunteers from a faith-based community like Calvary bring a different perspective to their role as mock interviewers and career panelists?
Thanks, Sally. So folks in a faith community, I think, are in a unique position. I think, first of all, the work that you're doing to learn about social justice and engage in social justice puts you in an important position that you are willing and desirous of creating change and supporting young people as they work through their lives. I would encourage you to continue with your learning, continue to engage with those difficult issues. They're hard. You'll be challenged, and I encourage you to continue to be challenged by that. I also in my own life, engage in what I've come to think of as a spiritual discipline of really continuing to engage with the community. So doing things like taking public transportation, really engaging and understanding the whole community. It's really easy for some of us who might have more privilege or more access to isolate from those types of communities. And I think it's really important that we continue to engage with the whole of our community.
Great, thank you. So I think you touched on this, but if you want to dive in a little bit deeper, for those who are not greatly affected by income inequality, what are realistic ways that we can help?
Sorry, I just got distracted a little bit. So I think as I mentioned, I think it's really important to continue to be intentional about learning and continuing to engage, even when we don't feel particularly well prepared. The reality is that being genuinely engaged and genuinely desirous of engaging is what's most important.
Thank you. How does New Door work with other organizations addressing income inequality for youth?
Yeah, we have a really deliberate and I think important strategy and posture that says we can't do it all, and that we really want to work with other organizations. We work with folks who provide housing, mental health services, and other types of training. And I think that we do that because we know we can't do it all. I think another thing that we do a lot of, or have been privileged to do over the past couple of years, is engage nationally with cohorts of organizations that provide services and address income inequality in different ways across the country. So I think an important thing that we're doing is always learning from others who are doing good work and trying to improve ourselves as well.
Great, thanks. So when you think about the youth you serve, maybe like some of the ones that you shared with us about, what keeps you up at night?
Right now, I'm worried for our young people in the current situation. Lots of folks, including, I would say, virtually all of our young people, have little margin in their lives for a health crisis or an economic crisis. I know that the need for our services is going to increase in the coming months, years. I don't know where the additional money is going to come to support that, but I know that we need to be ready to provide the support that we can. I think our young people in particular, and many others, have lots of obstacles to achieving their goals, and the climb to those goals just got harder. I think we have a lot to be concerned about, and those are the things I'm worried about.
Great, thank you. I think a lot of us share those concerns for ourselves and the community. And our last question, New Door recently went through a significant leadership transition with the arrival of your new CEO, Omar Butler. How might New Door's strategy or future programming shift to reflect Omar's perspective?
So yeah, Omar came in November of 2019. So he's been on board for almost 6 months, I guess that makes it. And I don't think he anticipated, or any of us anticipated, the challenges that would greet him. Omar is terrific, and I'm so excited about his leadership. What I hear from him, and what makes me even more excited about him, is that he's really asking us to think about this broader conversation, this bigger goal of social and economic mobility. And that's always been a part of what we want to be about. I think, though, that it's really important, especially now, for us to be thinking longer term, and how our programs, even if we're one piece of the puzzle, how our programs can support longer term advancement in social and economic mobility for young people. That's a challenging road, as we've established, and I'm excited to be in partnership with him and the rest of our team to move more in that direction.
Great, thank you. I know a few of us had the opportunity to meet and hear from Omar, so we're also excited to continue to join you as partners. So thank you again, Mark. I'm going to turn it back over to Reverend Joanne Witt, who will close the program.
Sally.
Thank you, Sally. I want to thank Mark for his time and for this inspiring introduction to the wonderful work of New Door Ventures. We're so very grateful for the work that you're doing, and we're glad Calvary can be a part of it. Big thanks as well to the team that has made this event happen. David Barnes, Sally Durgan, Kathy Bear, Robin Morjikian, and Candace Bottomley. If you want to know more about New Door Ventures, they have a marvelous website. You can find that website address, as well as links to more of Calvary's learning opportunities at the end of this session. So thank you for joining us, and have a blessed day.